How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, and today's video is on these Meinl pickup cajones. Now, what do I mean when I say pickup cajones? Well, they have piezo pickups inside the cajones with 1/4-inch outputs, tone and volume knobs, so you can plug the cajon directly into a PA, into an amplifier, and mix the acoustic sound with the electronic sound and get a nice full sound that's loud, that will cut through a band when you're on a nice size stage or in a small club. Lots of cool features to all these cajones. Now, they come in 4 different flavors. I'm sitting on the Snarecraft cajon. Right over here to my left is the Woodcraft. And there's also 2 flavors of the slap top cajon where you put on your lap and you play on the top of the cajon. We're going to get into the sound of every one. I'm going to play you the sound of the acoustic drum with just the microphones in the room, the sound of the drums with the piezo pickup only, and then the sound of the drums mixed together. Now, so you know how I'm recording everything today, for the cajones that I'm sitting on that have the typical bass port in the backside of the cajon, I do have microphones back there to pick up that sound. I have a couple of microphones in front of the cajones to get the room sound and the sound of the slap in front, so that's your acoustic sound. Then every cajon is plugged in with the 1/4-inch input into my Apollo 8P going on into Pro Tools. No EQ, no nothing, just going straight on in. Same with the slap top cajones. Those are getting picked up by the acoustic microphones in front and the 1/4-inch outputs on the cajones themselves. All that being said, let's get into each cajon right now. The one I'm sitting on is the Snarecraft cajon, Baltic birch body, Baltic birch front faceplate. Baltic birch is a killer tone wood for faceplates of cajones. It's got a nice snap and a big round sound. Before I get into the playing examples of each cajon here, let me quickly show you the tone controls that are on the side of the cajon here. It's really very simple. You have your 1/4-inch output right here, 1/4-inch jack. Works with any instrument cable, and you have a tone and a volume knob. Again, really easy. You can dial in a little bit of high end, pull it back if you need to, and then obviously raise or lower the volume. Now, let's get into the sound of the cajones. So the first sound you're going to hear right now is just the sound of the microphones, the cajon by itself, none of the electronics. Here we go. Big, loud, and fat sound, especially in the snare wires. Now, the Snarecraft has snare wires mounted at the top of this cajon, about, the top third of the cajon here, and it gets you a great snap. The low end is nice and beefy right in the center of the drum. Now, if you want, with most cajones, if you need even more snap, I don't know if you knew this or not, but you can loosen the nuts, the screws up here at the top, just a little bit so the faceplate just barely comes off of the body, and you can get more snap that way. But really right out of the box, it's set up perfectly. Now I'm going to play the cajon, but you're just going to hear the piezo pickups. And I'm also going to turn down the tone knob all the way down and all the way up so you can really hear the EQ doing its thing. Here we go. When you turn that tone knob all the way up, you really get a nice sizzle on the high end. Couple that with the acoustic mics in the room, and it's going to really make a nice full sounding cajon sound for you. Now let's put the 2 sounds together, the acoustic and electric sounds all together, full sound of this Snarecraft cajon. Here we go. Now I'm on the Woodcraft professional pickup cajon. Similar Baltic birch body as the Snarecraft, but this has a beautiful maca burl front faceplate. A little bit warmer sounding, still a great snap, very nice low end. The other difference is the strings on the inside of the cajon. This has the more traditional cajon strings that are attached from the bottom of the cajon and stretch all the way up to the top in sort of like this sort of fan pattern. There's like 3 or 4 strings on each side. Meinl calls them their custom microcoiled cajon strings. Nice traditional cajon sound. Other than that, it's pretty similar to the Snarecraft. Let's get into the sound right now. And again, I'm going to give you both sounds. This is the acoustic sound of the drum just by itself with the microphones. No electronics. Here we go. full, warm sounding, especially in the low end, and a nice snap. So now let's do the same thing where you're going to hear only the electronics, none of the microphones at all, just the electronics, and I'll turn the tone knob up and down as I play. Here we go. Now let's do a quick demonstration of the acoustic sound and the electronic sounds mixed together. Here we go. Okay, now let's get into these super cool slap top cajones. Very easy to play because they're just sit right on your lap here, in between your legs. There is some rubber pieces right here that sit on the top of your thigh, so it's very comfortable to play and just a lot of fun. Different vibe on what a cajon is. You can also tell that the ports are facing the audience, so the sound's going to travel towards the audience, as opposed to a typical cajon where the sound ports are usually on the back side. So the sound will travel towards the audience, making it easier to hear this instrument if you're sitting in the audience. You do get the same 1/4-inch jack on the slap top cajones, but the difference is you have two tone controls. You get a snare and a bass tone control, and then your volume control as well. The slap top, this one here, is made out of a high-density fiberboard body and a mahogany top. Very cool sound, just a lot of fun to make music with. So let's hear the sound of this slap top acoustically. Now, no electronics, just the microphones in the room. Here we go. Really cool bass tone right in the center. Snare wires on this side, a little bit of a drier sound on this side, but it is 3 distinct tones out of one little drum. Now, I'm going to play the same drum without the microphones in the room. All you're going to hear is the electronics coming right out of the 1/4-inch jack. And finally, everything all together, the acoustic sound and the electronic sound together for a nice mix of what this cajon can really sound like. Here we go. And finally, for the pickup cajones today, I have the Turbo slap top cajon, just a bigger version of the baby slap top over here on my right. You have a Baltic birch body, again, that nice cutting Baltic birch body, and then a walnut top hitting surface here. Beautiful looking and a great sound from walnut wood. Again, the ports of this cajon are facing the audience, the bass port along the bottom, the 2 snare ports over here, and this one, you're really going to hear the 3 distinct sounds throughout the playing surface here. Bass in the middle and 2 different snare sounds on the right and left. Now let's hear this drum with just the microphones in the room, no electronics. Here we go. This is a very cool and very easy to play drum. You get some really distinct sounds from the center to the edge here. Nice snap from the snare wires that come on the side of the drum here, and a cool full-bodied bass tone from the center. Again, this one's really easy and comfortable on your thighs. It has the rubber pads on the bottom of the drum, so it sits on your thighs very comfortably, and you could sit like this for a whole gig, no problem, and not get tired. So now let's hear this drum with just the electronics by themselves. Here we go. Hopefully you can tell how strong and powerful the tone knob is. When I crank that thing all the way to the right, the high end is really cutting. And when you turn it down, the mellowness of the bass tone in the middle of the drum is nice and mellow and round sounding. So now finally let's put all of that together with the microphones and the electronics for the sound of the turbo slap top cajon. Here we go. There you have it, everybody. Meinl's pickup cajones. A lot of fun to play, great musical instruments, and it's really cool to see the cajon, an instrument that's been around for a long time, have companies like Meinl give it innovations and use technology to take this instrument to another level. This is just a basic box drum, but they're really taking it to another level with the electronics inside, the sounds, the use of different woods and playing surfaces. You can get very musical with these drums and have a lot of fun. They're perfect for so many musical situations, from live to the studio and everywhere in between. If you want any more information about these Meinl cajones or any other Meinl product, just talk to your Sweetwater sales engineer. Thanks a lot for watching.